Yo, what is up, dudes? Is this Monday already? Well, it must be, because we are here with another Guitar of the Week. And this week, one of my favorite brands. My love for this brand is well documented. You know, we don't need to get into it, but, you know, the bottom line is I own these guitars. I like this brand, and, you know, it's probably my favorite guitar player out there. I speak, of course, of EVH. Of course, EVH. Now, we have had EVHs here before. We've had a couple of specials. We've had EVH models here at least, I want to say 3 times. But this is the first time we've had the standard. We usually have the special. This whole series kicked off with an EVH special. And then we went to, I want to say, the one with the kill switch, whatever that one was. It's a Strat with a kill switch and a hockey stick headstock. And then we went to, I think, another special. They had a special model with a paint job and double cream pickups that look real nice. But we've never had the standard, which is, of course, I believe, the entry model to the series. So this is, of course, a much lower cost guitar than the special. But you know, it's got a flat body, which is a lot easier than a carved body. A lot less time on the CNC machine. So you know, it's definitely a. And these are probably made, I'm gonna guess, in Indonesia, whereas the specials are made in Mexico, or as some would say, North America. Got a little bit of packing in here. Oh yeah, there's a neck rest. You know what? I got to use the table. Which is the... Okay. Making sure I have it up on the right side. There it is. Try not to poke my hand here. Yeah, there we go. It's a neck rest, a neck support. All right. Hold on a sec. We'll put this here. The box. Get rid of that. Just that neck support. We don't need that. A little bit of packing. And let's see. What do we... Oh, that's definitely a bright color. That is for sure. Well, we're a little caught up on the tuning pegs here. Here we go. Here we go. Come on. And this is a little bit over like that. Oh, a little bit better. More packing. More packing. And yoink. Look at this thing. Look at you, you maniac. I mean, I knew you had sparkles. I didn't know you had sparkles. Look at that thing. Jesus. It's sparkly. It's like wicked, wicked sparkly. People are like, how much more sparkly could it be? And the answer is none. None more sparkly. Yeah, it's very nice. Beautiful looking guitar. At that, what appears to be a roasted maple neck. Lovely. Very nice. Black hardware really goes with the gold. Beautiful. All right, well, you know the drill. I need to tune it up, plug it in. We will check it out. I will see you in a sec. All right, we are back. are back. This was actually a fairly easy guitar to get going because it was practically in perfect tune, which you find with Floyd Rose guitars. They usually come through in shipping pretty good. Slightly off, I was able to get it going. I actually did unscrew the nut to make sure everything was good and evened out the fine tuners. It just makes it easier in the long run. And the other thing I noticed was that this bar, maybe I'd have to go look at mine. I guess they're about the same. Yeah, I got mine up on the wall there. I guess they're about it felt like it was a little low, but there is a certain spot that bar has to be in for it to work perfectly. If it's too high, the notes will go sharp when you screw down the nut plates. And if it's too low, it'll actually go flat because it creates a little bubble. Trust me. I've done so much work on these for so long. You got to get, but when it's just right, there's no movement. So it's got to be in that spot. You know what it is? Maybe it's just that the posts on these tuners are kind of high, so it feels. It's the same as mine. I don't know what. It feels like it's different, but then I'm looking at mine and I'm saying, you know what? It's not different at all. It's exactly the same. So I don't know what I'm seeing that I'm not seeing on the one I own. They all seem to be about pretty much the exact same. So anyway, let's check out some specs on this. We'll call this up here. Oh, wrong. Bring that over here. There it is. This is officially the EVH Eddie Van Halen from the Redundant Department of Redundancy. It's the EVH Wolfgang WG, which I think is Wolfgang. It's the EVH Wolfgang Standard. This is the Sparkle Gold, but it is also available in a Pelham Blue. And the specs are the series Wolfgang Standard. Body material is basswood. Body finish is gloss. The neck is a baked maple with the Wolfgang back shape. What's sort of interesting is, I never really considered these necks chunky, but coming off that Stingray from last week, that actually had even though it was a rounder neck, didn't feel as chunky in the hand. Kind of odd. You would think that this would be way more of a shred neck than a Stingray, Music Man Stingray, which has kind of got a vintage vibe going on, but no. No, it's kind of mind-blowing. Neck finish is oiled. The fingerboard is a baked maple with a 12 through 16-inch compound radius. 22 jumbo frets. They are black dot inlays. It is a Floyd Rose R2 locking nut with a 41.3 millimeter width. Tuning machines, EVH branded. I believe these are made by Godo. Don't quote me on that, but that's what I've heard through the grapevine many times, that EVH has their EVH branded tuners made by Godo. Scale length, 25.5 inches. The bridge is an EVH branded Floyd Rose special double locking trem. Pickups are direct mount Wolfgang humbucking bridge and neck. The pickupping switching is a 3-position toggle with a bridge and neck. Pretty much standard stuff. Controls are volume and tone. One disappointment, they're not low friction volume and tone. And I'm just so used to that with EVH guitars. I'm like, oh, it's not a low friction. Kind of a bummer. I really appreciate that on the volume. Tone knob, I don't care. But the volume knob, I do appreciate a low friction knob. Control knobs are the speed knobs. The hardware is black. And it comes strung with EVH nickel-plated steel 9 through 42. And there you are. And there you have it. This was a Blem return. I'm always curious to find the blem. There is a small, and it was a little hard to see because of the sparkle paint job. There was a small neck pocket crack at the top. Someone might have seen that and was like, oh, I don't like that. Can you even see it on cam? I swear to God you can. It took me a second to find it. You see it in there? Down in the corner? Anything? Yeah, not really. It took me a second to find. I went over the guitar and I was like, "Where's?" I said, "Oh, I wonder if that's it. Could be. You never know." The other thing I wasn't crazy about, while I'm off on a rant, is they gave in, and the down is the treble and up is rhythm, like on a Les Paul. EVH never played his guitars like that. Up was always bridge and down was always neck. And you're like, but why? Why would he reverse it? It was pretty easy. When he went up to tap, he didn't want to accidentally bump into this and knock it into the middle position. So if it's up and you bump into it, you don't have to worry about knocking it out of the bridge position into the middle or the neck position. Right? If you bump it, it's always going in the correct direction when you're tapping. It's a great idea. I mean, it really works. I reversed once I found that on that. A lot of my guitars that have a toggle up there, I've reversed it. It's so much easier. But for whatever reason, they didn't do that on this guitar. In fact, this was a thing for a number of years, but I would say in the last couple of years, they haven't reversed it. At least in the last year or two, they're not reversing it any longer. It used to be always a reverse toggle, but I don't know, maybe they found that people didn't like it, but, if you do any sort of tapping, you don't have to worry about, and then, did I just hit this? Anyway, this is the bridge pickup. Wolfgang pickups always sound good. Also, well, it's just on top of mind. Nicely rolled fretboard and absolutely no fret sprout, but we are not in fret sprout season right now. We're like anti-fret sprout. It's been so moist. You're coming off the summer, the wood is about as swollen as it's going to get. So, is there a little ding right there? No. Doing on tuning, not bad. Maybe that was the return, this little nub there. Wolfgang pickups always sound good. That's the bridge. Here's both. The neck. not to use the bar. Until the very end. I am a little worried about it going out of tune. Not bad. Oh, that felt a little out. That's not bad. So, not too bad. Again, brand new strings, or close to brand new. All right, let's switch it up to our clean sound. Everybody, and I do mean everybody, wants to hear it clean. How else would you know what a guitar sounded like? That sounds off. That's a little better. Yeah. That is within acceptable parameters. Oh, let me just check this. It's annoying me. Well, that's spot on. That's spot on. That might be a touch off. That's good. Get you high E. High E. Better. There's always one. Here's both pickups. What a difference when you add that middle pickup. And then here it is, just the neck. Doesn't really lift up. Not really floating. I think, like some of their other guitars, they put plates under the back of it to prevent it from tilting back. Yeah, it's got like, I can see it, it's got like a steel plate under there. Which might help a lot of people who struggle with a floating trem. I get it. They're not the easiest. Anyway, that was the bridge. Here's both again. Here's just the bridge. Very nice. You know, Wolfgang pickups up, they've always sounded good. All right, on to our Behave lead. Here's both. And just the neck. And then just the neck. Hell yeah. All right, dual heavy reg? Of course. Yeah. All right, let's go back from where we started. Our good 87. Is that a little bit of that same? No, it isn't. I saw a little mark on the side. I said, oh, is that the glue too? But it's not. Just the look of the grain. Hell yeah. The EVH Wolfgang Standard in Sparkle Gold, there you are, is the guitar of the week. And like every guitar of the week, there'll be a link in the description for pricing, any specs I might have missed, other colors, things like that. And there you have it. All right, dudes, as always, thanks so much for hanging out, and rock on.